And welcome back to LinkedIn Logs, the jobs podcast for the website cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Welcome back in. Episode 73 is where we are landing on today. Let's just get started. No faffing about, as the Brits would say. I am currently in the middle of my workday. You know, it's hard being a writer for a publication. Here's the thing. Yesterday I had a conversation with the person who hired me at this entertainment writing gig, and which you could easily see on my LinkedIn if anybody's ever like, because I'm being very coy about where it is. But I had a conversation with one of the editor who hired me, and my contract has been renewed for another couple of months. They're also doing a different way to pay. Now, the pay was never great before. Let's just get that out of the bag right now. The pay was never great. In fact, you would truly have to work a lot of magic in order to get paid well. But that is, it's also the byproduct of today's age of just quantity over quality. And I'm not saying that the things that are on the website are bad, but I'm saying that at a certain amount of dollars per post, barely breaking double digits, let's just say. Oh, God. You would have to, even just to have like spending money, it would have to be a lot of work. 12 to 15 articles per week. Just to have spending money. I'm averaging about that number. Let's just put it that way. But we're moving and grooving, and the pay structure has been changed a little bit. So now we have to do... you have to do... It changed, I would say, more in the favor of the company, less in the favor of the individual. However, if the individual... And again, it's up to the news if something is going to happen. Because there are plenty of days where I'm scouring and I'm going, I cannot put this on this website because that's not the type of website it is. But it takes a lot of... Oh, I just realized I'm wearing a different watch. Doesn't matter. Who cares? But it does take a lot of paying attention and parsing stories and seeing what's going to work and what's not. I got to check the work email, by the way. I just realized that. I did close it down just to see if somebody took my stories. No. I've got a couple of stories. I have an idea doc. I got a couple of stories sitting there. Oh, no, nobody takes them. It's an idea doc for me. However, there's also parallel thinking. Anyway, I did have the second interview for that job. And it went well, I would say. I give it an A+. Sometimes when I'm coming home from the gym, particularly on leg days, on Tuesdays, I'll grade myself. If I'm coming home feeling good, I'll go, man, that was good. I'll just list out things. Truly, when I die, check out the last, I guess my dash cam records an hour or something. Check out whatever's on the dash cam because it's going to be either really, really mean about the drivers around me, or is going to have some insane things that I say. And one of the insane things is me talking to myself about how good or how bad my workout was. Look, I give myself an A. You know what? I did really well in the snatches this morning, and I introduced about 5 new exercises, and they looked good on the video. Also, yeah, I do record myself, but only for one set. And I put it on my Strava. So if you have Strava, follow me on Strava. Follow me on Peloton. It's all the same name. I can't think of anything else. I'm not really good with names. I did have that second interview, and I'll just gloss over it. It was very lovely. The person I spoke to also worked at WXIA. We missed each other by a couple of years, and we commiserated about working in that particular local news environment. I'm trying not to lump together my bad experience in local news with the general necessity for local news, because while there are a lot of bad local news places and stations, and I'll say a majority of them probably are, there's also probably a lot of good ones. But here in Atlanta, in what a manager at WXIA told me when I was like just begging for more responsibility. We're in the number 9 market. He didn't say it like that. I'm doing it. He's more of a nerd. He's like, we're in the number 9 market, and you need to answer phones. It's true. They told me this is a very true anecdote from that job. I was working on the help desk, and then they redid the help desk, and nobody said anything to me, so I just became a digital producer. I was making significantly less than the real digital producers, and at one point, the guy was like, "You have to go back to answering phones." When there was no seat for me to, they basically gave those duties back to the main person who was doing them. He's like, "You need to go back to answering phones." And then I said, "But I wrote these stories and I pitched it, blah, blah, blah." And he's like, "Yeah, but you can also answer phones." And I was like, "No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. We could be so much more." It's one of those very earnest movie moments that you see. Oh, we could be so much more. That's me. We could be so much more. And then nothing happened after that. And then the guy, when letting go a bunch of other people, they were like, "Let's start chatting there." Anyway, it was a nice conversation, and I sold myself as best I could. That's what we have to do. Following that, there was okay, let's talk about this. Okay, so the Hollywood Reporter put out a story. George Zaslav wrote, "Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav's 2024 pay package rises to $51.9 million. Companies have to disclose their annual compensation details and like a lot of other spending stuff, but included in that is the top executive's pay." Zaslav made roughly $2 and some change million more. It's an increase of 4% compared to what he made in 2023 and in 2022 when the Discovery Warner Media merger closed. Zaslav's compensation increase of 4% was driven by the higher non-equity incentive plan pay, up from $22.0 million to $23.9 million, and slightly higher stock awards, $23.1 million, and other compensation, $1.9 million. So that means he was paid roughly $23.9 million in cash, and then his stock is $23.1 million, and somehow he got, we assume, I don't know what other compensation is, but I can only assume bonuses or gifts of some sort that equate to $1.9 million. I went to my LinkedIn, irate that this is happening, and I posted these words. "I'm pretty sure I've been blacklisted at Warner, and even if I haven't been, I am very confident in saying that David Zaslav is making way too much money. If I were in his position, I'd get paid $1 million and tie up the rest in stock so that the company's worth and my worth were connected. Nothing would make me work harder and put out better shows, movies, and streaming products than to relate how well I'm doing with the company. Also, I don't need much, just a roof and some food and TV and good internet and some other stuff. Okay, I'm pretty high maintenance. Anyway, I'm still unemployed, 2 years strong. So feel free to hire me to work for you. Kissing emoji, kissy face emoji. 247 impressions. I have way more connections than that. 1 like. Which I think is very funny. Now, someone did comment. Someone I did work with at Cartoon Network. They said, just tagged you in a post from MSNBC. And if you ever consider coming up to the college where they work, just tap me on the shoulder. I may have connections to help you. And I was like, hey, I don't see a notification for this. But I'll keep an eye out for the college work. Thanks. Not as one person liked it. One person liked it probably days later, but one person liked it. If I've noticed something that there's a lot of, I hate LinkedIn. I hate LinkedIn with a passion. But there's a lot of, oh God, what is the word I'm looking for? Oh my God, I clapped it. It moved. What is the word I'm looking for? What's the word? Hypocrisy when it comes to this platform, because these people, they come here, they complain, but they dress it up as like learning experiences and this and that. And I hate that. Don't be fake. LinkedIn, I get it. You have to look professional and be this, but we can have fun with this too. You know, this was a funny post. And if you're taking it too seriously, then that's on you. That's your fault. I've seen so many people write their suicidal manifestos here, and I'm teasing a little, but like they'll write like suicidal manifestos, or they'll write, I had to take this job after 2 weeks of being unemployed. I had to take this job I didn't like because I needed to put food on the table. Like, guys, a lot of these people do not have the mettle to survive in what I would call the actual world. Because if you're coming here and you're bitching and moaning about being unemployed for a week, then let me tell you what the reality is. Or you're sitting here and you're posting about Katy Perry going to space and how that ties into you being a strong person and her being, just all this stuff is so fake, and I hate it so much. And the problem is, at this point in my career, I need this goddamn website, and I hate every single person here. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. It's like this is the exact reason why on the desktop, to the very least, on YouTube, I've blocked comments because I don't want to see comments anywhere. Why are you watching a video about an apartment tour in New York and complaining about the price? Who cares? I live in the middle of Minnesota, and for $5,000 a month, I could get a mansion. Yeah, because you live in the middle of Minnesota. You don't live off of Park Avenue. Your idea of Mexican food is Taco Bell, Chipotle. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, it flabbergasts me how you can make so much money and actively ruin the reputation of quite frankly, the second largest name in entertainment. Right after Disney, I would say Warner Brothers is right up there. Now, Zaslav's 2023 rise in compensation had been due in part to a decision by WBD to change its executive compensation plan to focus on cash flow rather than its stock price. In 2023, WBD's free cash flow rose in part due to the Hollywood strikes, which shut down productions for months. Again, if I was in his position, and I understand, I'm not rich, I'm not an executive, there's other things to this whole thing. I'm sorry, I just saw an article that is truly crazy. But if I were in his position, I would, and I really believed in the product, I would focus that flow of cash, that open flow of cash, instead of, I understand you have to get down, you have to write down the $50 billion of debt. I would take that open flow of cash and try not to let a lot of people go and really let that money go elsewhere to bolster up some jobs, if not full-time, part-time, or on contract basis, so that we can continue making great product. You want more White Lotus, you want more Last of Us, then let's reinvest into that type of stuff. Because that way, advertisers, when you go to the upfronts, they'll say, oh, they have 3 shows that are exactly like The Last of Us. And they all get great views and people talking about them online. And there's podcasts. Then we will buy ads on those shows for the ad-supported product, or for the or online or whatever. We will buy ads surrounding that. You don't want to take away Looney Tunes off of Max. Yes, it's on YouTube. It's on Tubi. But the idea is to have people stay on your app. On Netflix, remember going to Blockbuster or Hollywood Video and having that paralyzing choice where you have to decide between one movie or the other? That was fantastic. I loved that. Going in and being like, oh man, I'm going to name a movie that was out before I was even born. Kickboxer. Only because I was watching it this morning as I was cycling. Oh, here's Kickboxer. I get to see Kickboxer. Oh wait, there's Rocky 2. Why am I naming these movies? Movies I've seen, movies I enjoy. Kickboxer is great. If you haven't seen Kickboxer, there's a scene where Jean-Claude Van Damme is dancing. Before he starts fighting, he's dancing in the scene. It's a famous scene. I saw it before I even saw the movie. And it's oddly mesmerizing. It's so mesmerizing to see him move his body in the most inhumane way. But that paralyzing choice to decide between 2 movies, the same thing happens on Netflix. The same thing happens on Disney Plus. The same thing should happen on Max. But as it stands, with you removing things, people are going to go to Max and they're going to click on the stuff that's in their queue, as opposed to whatever else is out there. On Prime Video this morning, when I was clicking on to Kickboxer, what popped up but Viola Davis's G20. Now, was I enticed into watching it? Yes, but I was already 20 minutes into Kickboxer from the last time I was watching it. So I said, let me just finish out this movie. That's what you want. You want people to stay with Max, no matter what happens. And by removing shows, wasn't there a rumor that they're going to move The Leftovers? But then that was stopped. But by removing what you have and putting it elsewhere, people are going to go there instead. If I can watch Cheers anywhere else but Paramount Plus, I will. I own all of Frasier. There was a sale. I think it was a pricing error, but there was a pricing error for $10 for all of Frasier a couple of months ago, and I bought it. But I wish I had Cheers because I also love Cheers. It's crazy how both of those shows lasted for so long. Cheers ended, and then Kelsey Grammer went to Frasier, and Frasier lasted for 11 seasons. And then we got 3 more of a reboot series. That was fine, but it was funny. I laughed at it. To recap, I would take, if I were Zaslav, I'm already comfortable. I've already built up wealth. Take a gamble and invest. Oh, cool. And finally, this comes from Deadline, written by Peter White, not related. No relation. TV writers hit by drastic reduction in number of jobs, says WGA. We had the writers' strike. And unfortunately, although there was a huge ratification to the deal between the production companies and the writers and WGA, and it involved AI and other and compensation, residuals and things like that, and for streaming. It appears as though, because of the cancellation of shows, because of the lack of jobs entirely, that writing numbers have fallen by a lot. The Writers Guild of America revealed this past Friday that the number of TV writing jobs fell by 42% for the 2023-2024 season. In the new report, the Guild said that there were 1,319 television writing jobs in 2023 and 2024 compared to 1,819 in 2022 and 2023. This comes after the WGA spent months fighting the studios for a new contract, something the Guild said was partly to blame for the new statistics. Other reasons included the decline in original programming across, excuse me, I get a little choked up, across the cable networks and streamers, pulling back from the number of shows, quote, as Wall Street demands quicker streaming platform profits. We saw shows getting canceled. We saw shows ending. And it seems that years ago we hit the peak of what John Landgraf, the CEO or the head of FX right now, he's, for the past like 10 or so years, he's been talking about peak TV. And we hit peak TV somewhere around and after the pandemic. And then once that bubble burst, because of streaming, because of broadcast, because of cable, we're seeing the effects, the residual effects of the lack of residuals and the lack of shows. There's also been according to Guild data, about 37% fewer WGA covered episodic TV series aired in the 2023-2024 season. Most stark was the number of jobs lost for showrunners and co-exec producers, which saw 642 fewer jobs across the year. There were 378 fewer staff writer, story editor, and executive story editor positions compared to the previous season, as well as 299 fewer mid-level jobs, which include co-producers, consulting, and supervising producers. We're seeing these numbers, and it doesn't look good. And, you know, quite frankly, for the future, it probably isn't going to get better, at least not anytime soon. A lot of writers I've seen, and actually I say a lot of creative people in general, have turned towards stuff like newsletters. So they're going to Substack. They're going to, Patreon in order to, and they're even doing podcasts to make a little bit extra money. I'm not saying that's what people like Amy Poehler and who else is famous as a podcast, and Michelle Obama are doing. But they do see their other famous people in the same sphere doing the same thing, making an insane amount of money compared to the worlds of, Never Not Funny, which has been around since it is one of the first podcasts, if not the first podcast. So people are finding different ways to make money. Screenwriting to work has also declined, but to a lesser degree, with screenwriter earnings down 6% for the first 3 quarters of 2024, and the number of screenwriters working down 15%. Now, if you're a writer, you're more than likely, and you're a paid writer, you're more than likely in the Writers Guild of America. They represent over 10,000 writers. And they're fighting for you, even though there are some people who are opposite the guild. I've heard stories of James Corden. Aaron Sorkin, Craig Mazin. You know, rich old white guys. Not rich old white guys, rich white guys. A couple of them are old. What has to change in order to make things better for, let's start with TV writers. Well, first things first, more things have to get greenlit. More TV shows have to get greenlit, and there have to be more writers' rooms. Sometimes a lot, especially for a lot of these like niche shows, you'll see the creator of the show, who is a big name themselves or whatever, they'll be the co-EP, well, the EP, one of the EPs, and they'll also be the head writer, and so you'll see like written by so and so, and then you'll go to the Wikipedia page or the IMDb page, and you'll see their name on every single episode, writing or directing. And if you go to IMDb in particular, you'll see sometimes, well, I mean all the time, a list of writers. If those writers are lucky, then they'll be named producers within the next season or two as well. Not in every case, just saying this is how it happens sometimes. I've noticed this on shows like on Apple TV and Netflix. Like they'll keep the writers' room small, and I don't know what that is. And I know they're doing less episodes, but I feel like I guess because I'm comparing it to shows on broadcast that are doing 18 plus episodes, 18 to 22 episodes a year, that you'll see like 10 or 15. All writers' room differ. I don't know how it works on late night. Listen, if you like what you heard here, head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where we've got some me talking to famous people sometimes. If you want to see a video version of me talking to famous people, as well as a video version of the show, as well as a video version of the other podcast, the Constitutionals podcast, which is the Entertainment Business News podcast, and Late Night Lately, the Late Night Show. Go to youtube.com/cpluscomedy. The most recent famous person I've spoken to is Melissa Roxburgh. You can check that out under the interviews on youtube.com/cpluscomedy. I'm pretty good at it. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to follow us on social media, follow us on Blue Sky, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at cpluscomedy. Me at Chad Black White. Thank you so much. Rest in peace. Nova. Bye.